Hi, everyone. Welcome to Inspire to Run podcast. Today, we have a special guest, Jodi Fisher. Jodi is the founder and CEO of Go Guarded, an innovative brand of self defense products designed for runners and other on the go individuals. Thank you for coming on the show, Jodi. This is such an important topic about runner safety, and I'm really excited to learn more about you and the work that you're doing with Go Guarded. So, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. What a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you sending the invitation.
Of course, of course. And like I mentioned, this is a very important topic that I wish I got on the show a lot sooner, just given everything that's kind of happened in the world over the last couple of years alone. Very public incidents and very tragic. So, really looking forward to
Yeah,
learning a little bit more about you and the work that you're doing and how we can help keep our community safe. So, let's just start the conversation by learning just a little bit more about you.
sure. Okay. Well, I started running approximately 7 years ago. And the way that Go Guarded was founded was that on one of my earlier runs, I didn't have my running squad yet. So I was doing a solo run at a park, Midtown Park, and I was just going to go around the perimeter of the park, but somehow I managed to take a wrong turn and I ended up in a secluded, darker part. The sun was setting and everything turned out fine. I just picked up the pace and I found a more populated area. But that feeling stuck with me of how vulnerable I was. And I wasn't sure what I would have done had something happened. So, and that feeling stuck with me of being that vulnerable. So I started looking for self defense products that made sense for runners, that were convenient, effective, um, and I didn't find anything. And professionally, before I started Go Guarded, and even currently, I still work in criminal justice, and my whole career has been criminal justice and law enforcement. So I'm always very aware of my personal safety, and it's something I take very seriously. So I went on this journey looking for a product, how I can feel safer while running, and never found it. So that is how Go Guarded got started. And just to be clear, I had zero product development experience. I didn't know anything about it. So I just was on there just like, well, let's Google this and let's Google that. And yeah, and that was how I came up with my first product. I had this idea for the Go Guarded ring. And that's how it started. That's the backstory. And I still currently I work in actual federal criminal justice now. I used to be a probation officer up in Phoenix, Arizona. And while I no longer work in that aspect of it, now I'm older, so I just work in administration of justice. I work as an analyst. But yeah, so still super important to me about personal safety. So
Well, thank you, Jodi. I appreciate you sharing your story and, congratulations on the work that you've done to bring new products to market, to start a business, and again, to help our running community stay safe. And, I could share a personal story on my side,
yes,
somewhat
thank
similar
you.
to yours. I was, going for a walk and I was walking past a park that's actually close by. I mean, a park that we go to occasionally with the kids and the dog, but it was later at night. And I'm not usually out at night, but and I just had to get that walk in that day.
Hmm.
And I just felt someone walking behind me. And I can't say that they were necessarily following me, but it was probably the first
Right.
time walking and running in my neighborhood where I felt uncomfortable and somewhat unsafe. So, that's kind of really just stuck with
Yeah.
me for a really long time. So I could resonate with your story and, in that way.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not, although my products focus and were developed for the female market, I know that men are not immune to violence or being victims while running. And I have been in contact. Somebody's probably 18 months ago. Somebody that now I'm friends with, I had met on Instagram. He had reached out to me He A man was running in Philadelphia. He was on a solo run, and he's a nice guy. Somebody had stopped him to ask, what time is it or what direction, this or that. And that person was clearly mentally unstable and literally just started stabbing this man that's out running. So, I mean, he's okay. And the person got arrested and prosecuted. But although my main focus is women, I am well aware that men are victims too and have their own set of issues that they deal with for their safety.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, let's talk about your company. Let's talk about the products, and
Sure.
let's talk about the things surrounding this that could help others keep themselves safe. While they're out on their run.
Sure.
So, maybe we'll start a little bit about the philosophy of the company and some of the products that you offer.
Oh, so the philosophy is just empowerment. I guess if I had to just wrap it up, concisely and precisely, for that's what we believe in. We want to empower people to, we don't want to scare people, right? We still want you to go running and enjoy the outdoors, but we want you to feel empowered and kind of level the playing field a little bit, because like I said, it's mostly women that I cater to, and oftentimes they are smaller than somebody that would be an assailant. And it's so the company Go Guarded just looks for a way to even that out and give women a little bit of a leg up on that. And so we started with the Go Guarded ring, and you just slip it on and you just go for your run. That's it. And the nice thing about it is that it's attached to your finger, to your hand, and it's less likely to be taken away from you should an encounter happen, because it's attached to you. Also, it's always ready. It's on your finger, and you're naturally going to use your hands to fight. God forbid something happens and you do get assaulted, you're naturally going to use your hands. So it's there, it's attached to you. You don't have to fumble around in your fanny pack or your purse to, like, hold on, Mr. Assailant, I've got my pepper spray in my backpack, just hold on. That's not reality, right? You just, if you're fighting for your safety, you got to be ready to go. So that is one of the things we really strive to make all our products convenient, comfortable, and effective for runners, right? And they work for other people. They work for college students walking across campus at night. They work for nurses leaving a late shift in the hospital and walking through a dark parking lot. Somebody on that has to take the BART or the subway or the metro. But runners have special needs. We don't have, we don't want to carry things. We don't always have pockets to store things. So the focus really was on runners. Once I started running and saw that there really was not anything, right? So that happened when I got on that solo run and I got a little concerned for my safety. I'm starting to look for what are my options as a runner for self-defense tools. And there were literally, at that time, so this was 7 years ago, it was pepper spray. That was it. And I was like, this can't be. This can't be the only option. And I'm Googling, and I'm like, this is insane. How did somebody not address this need? So it was never my intent. I never woke up one morning and said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to create a product. What should I create? It wasn't like that. It was, this is the need. How do I fill this need? And I couldn't. So, yeah, so I just little by little took the steps necessary to create Go Guarded products. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love that this was born out of necessity, right? So this was your
Yes.
passion, something that you enjoy doing, and you realized
Yeah.
that there was a need here and you wanted to help not only yourself, but others. So, that's very inspiring. And it's
Absolutely.
inspiring for, I hope it's
Thank
inspiring
you.
for our listeners to know that, this isn't just something that, is being trying to be sold to them as something that's really
Right.
developed by a runner to help them in their safety in their running journey.
Oh,
So that's really great.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I never set out to like, I want to be rich. Let me create a company and what can I sell? It was absolutely that has never been the goal. It was how do I fill this need? How do I help other runners? Because I know it's not just me that has safety concerns on their runs. So
For sure. So, tell us a little bit more about that. So you mentioned about the ring solution that you have. What other products are you offering?
yeah, so the ring was the first product, and then the second product is a handheld that it straps again. It's strapped right to you. It's got a Velcro enclosure, and there's a pocket up top that either fits pepper spray, an alarm, or a stun gun, and so it sits right in the palm of your hand. And then at the bottom is that same Go Guarded blade, that heavy duty plastic serrated edge blade. What the idea for the handheld is that hopefully you're able to deter an attack before it happens, either with the pepper spray, the stun gun, or the alarm. That would be great because the best fight is a fight that is avoided, right? So if you can deter that, fantastic. But if it does unfortunately turn into a hands-on assault, you have the blade, that plastic serrated edged blade, and you could just hammer strike. And it's right there. Again, it's convenient, it's comfortable, it's effective, it's ready to go. You don't have to do anything. Same thing, like there's no fumbling around to let me get this out of my fanny pack. So that's been um, that's kind of like the secret sauce, right? We want to make it on each product that's for a runner. It's going to be convenient, comfortable, effective, always ready.
Got it. Got it. And yeah, and I like that accessibility there. And I see that with the ring and then with this product. And the other thing that I'm thinking about is as a runner, especially if you're running longer distances, you mentioned you may not want to carry things, but you may have a
Right.
pack with water or whatever your hydration or
Yeah.
nutrition is. And how do you do all of that while you're carrying something? And it sounds like, with the Go Guarded products, that you're still able to function as a runner
Yes.
and not impede anything else that you have to do, but you're keeping yourself safe.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, with the ring on or the handheld, you still can use your hands. You can still tie your shoes. You can fix your ponytail. You can check your Garmin. Just, obviously you want to be careful, wiping sweat. Just be aware that the ring is on your finger. Um, and I will say this, a question we get a lot regarding the ring and the handheld is I'm afraid people say, "Well, I don't want to stab myself," or "I don't, I'm gonna fall and injure myself." And I would say that one of the things that was intentional when we developed this product was that we made it to reduce the likelihood of self harm. So instead of having a super sharp, like razor blade edge, we intentionally made it out of this heavy duty plastic, glass infused plastic. So if you do, you're running next to one of your buddies and you accidentally, your form, it's the end of the run, you're tired, your form is off a little bit, you accidentally, graze the runner next to you with your ring, you might scrape them or scrape yourself, but it's not going to send you to the hospital for stitches. It intentionally requires a little bit of force to be effective.
Got it. Got it. That's ingenious. I think that's, super helpful. Again, we're first runners, running, and that's what we're focused
Right.
on. So, like you said, if you're tired
Right.
or you're not thinking about, you forget, like, oh, I have this on my hand,
Right.
that you have those safety features included. So that's really great. And how do you help runners figure out what's the right solution for them and how to use it?
Well, it's personal preference. Like me, I love the handheld with the stun gun. Like that's what I'm going to use. Right? That's just my favorite, and it's just preference. And a lot of people say, no, I prefer the ring. It's lighter, less. It's just smaller. So it's just personal preference. But I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
from my experience, I like the handheld and I like the hammer strike option, the hammer strike, which you have available to you. So I just think for me, that's the better choice. So everybody has their own, whatever they're comfortable with. And some people will buy both and see which they prefer. And I will say we intentionally make the products affordable, right? That's the other thing. They're convenient, they're comfortable, effective, but they're also affordable for runners. So
Hmm. Hmm.
personal
Yeah, and I love
preference is the
seeing.
short answer. Mhm.
Yeah, I love seeing the photos online of, folks that are using Go Guarded products, and they really
Yeah.
looks like they're enjoying having the products, and it's really kind of bringing them
Yes.
comfort, on their runs, and you could see that. So that's really great about what you're doing again for the community, and beyond the products themselves. What other tips or what else would you share with our running community to help keep them safe, while they're out there on the
Sure.
road?
Now, for me, the number one thing is always going to be awareness, right? Situational awareness, like head on a swivel. Don't keep two earphones or two earbuds on. You want to be able to hear what's going on around you. You want to stay engaged with your environment, right? Always scanning. And for me, whether I'm running, walking, getting into my car, driving my car, I always play the what if game, like to just keep engaged with my environment. Like I'm driving and I'm like, this guy is driving a little erratically. What am I going to do what if he does this? So I'm always aware of like who's behind me, who's driving in the lane next to me. So I just play out different scenarios all the time. And I do that while running, while driving. What if, right? And it just mentally keeps you engaged with what's going on around you. So that for me, number one, hands down, situational awareness. The other thing I think is super important is your mental attitude. Like I know that I'm worth fighting for, right? I will do whatever it takes. I am worth it and I will fight like hell. And that's my mental attitude. And I want people to be empowered and to take whatever steps necessary to know that they can do this. They're worth fighting for. And if they want to if they take jujitsu or self-defense classes or Krav Maga, whatever it is that a person needs to do to build their confidence and know that they're a badass and that they have that mental attitude that I'm not going to be your victim, right? So that whole mentality that I'm going to be a really bad victim. You will be sorry that you chose me. So so it's mentally for me, like really important mentally, and also how I present myself, whether I'm running, walking. Always chest out, shoulders back, tall, straight, engaged with my environment. I'm not slumped over. I'm not, head down looking at my phone. I present myself as, okay, she's probably not going to be a great victim, right? And just I I don't know if it's a vibe, an aura, but I project. I'd like to think I project don't f with me attitude, and I think that's so important. So, carry whatever you want to carry. If it's Go Guarded, if it's another product for self defense, if it's a firearm, whatever you are comfortable with, it's you know personal safety, right? It's personal, whatever you want to carry or not carry, or whatever martial art or self defense you want to take or not take, personal decisions. But I think we all should be situationally aware.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Jody, for
Yeah.
sharing that. Those are really great tips, and I'm thinking about it again, even as a runner on my own runs, and I do some of that, right? So I wear headphones that don't go into my ears, so I can have I'm not distracted
Mhm.
completely by what I'm listening to, and
Right.
making sure that I'm looking ahead, which I should be looking somewhat ahead anyway if I'm going to have good running form. So that's going to
Sure.
help you in both ways, right? Both
Yes.
safety and having good form.
Yep,
So those are
absolutely.
really good tips. And then the confidence piece, it's probably it's similar but not in the same context. It's sort of about the saying that your attitude will determine your altitude. I think you're right. I think how you
Yeah,
think of yourself and the attitude that you have, and that's what you're going to manifest, right? And you want to manifest that you're someone that
absolutely.
you're not the person to be messed with, right? And I think that's what you're getting at there.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, 100%, yeah. Because I think the thing that I think maybe we don't understand enough is that the perpetrator, the bad guy, he's nervous, right? He doesn't wanna get injured, he doesn't wanna get caught, right? So he's gonna look for a victim that's meeker, smaller, less attitude, right? And they can I believe people can read energy.
Good tips. Thank you for sharing that. And,
Sure.
I'm interested now in your journey. So, whether it's your running journey or your journey with your business, what would you say is one of the biggest obstacles that you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so probably the number one in the business was the money, right? I have this idea. How do I how do I pay for it? So in the business part, that was the number one thing. Ultimately, I ended up so we'll see what I did is I took baby steps, right? I had this idea. I found a engineering team, product development team, brought them the idea. They said, "That's a great idea. We'd love to work on this project. We'll do the development." Okay, how much is that going to cost? Okay, that's 1,000, 2,000, whatever. Okay, I can afford that. Okay, so then they get a prototype and looks good. I showed around. People are like, "That's a great idea. You should move forward." Okay, great. What's the next step? And the next step was production, and that's where it got super expensive. And I really struggle. How am I gonna pay for this because I'm just, I've got a decent job, but I'm not a wealthy person. And, I still had a son at home. So I ended up, this is really scary, but I ended up borrowing from my retirement account. So that was a big step but I did it and it worked out. I've since paid that money back, but it was a big risk. So, and I think that is the biggest hurdle a lot of people are going to face when they want to take on a big project like this. So for me, yeah, money.
Yeah, yeah. And I love your approach to it. The two parts to it. One was taking baby steps. So I think that's
Yes,
relevant for no matter what you're doing, right? If you're going to get into running,
absolutely.
doing the baby steps, your couch to 5K, or if you're going to start a business, what are
Yes,
those small steps that you could do to, prototype, validate your idea, et cetera, et cetera. And then
yes.
at that point where you're like, I'm ready to go in, taking the risk, which it might be daunting. It might be hard for someone to take that risk or take that step, and
Oh,
you did it, and it not
horrible.
only paid off from a business
It was
perspective,
horrible.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you did it, and you benefited. That you have this business as well as you're helping the community, the running community. So just really, really great tips and inspiring story.
Oh, thank you. The takeaway for me is that I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm not the wealthiest person in the room. I had no background in this, but I was able to do it. I made smart decisions, informed decisions. I had no product development experience, but I was still able to do this. So if people think, oh, I can't do this, this is you know what? You can. It's not everybody's going to be successful, but be smart and have faith and get that feedback. And yeah, people can do great things.
Love it. Love it. I'm really enjoying this conversation, Jody. And, just kind of as we wind down here, I'd love to
Sure.
know what's next for you as a runner and what's next for Go Guarded.
So regarding running, I I am a very middle of the road, middle of the pack. I do not have great running aspirations. For me, I just run a little bit. I try not to run more than 5 miles because for me personally, nothing good ever happens after 5 miles, right? And that's just, and I know there are people that run marathons. That will never be me. I'm a very casual runner. So I wish I could say, oh, yeah, I'm training to run, the London Marathon. I'm not. I never will. Right. So I'm always just, I like running. It keeps me somewhat fit, it keeps me mentally stable. I love the social aspect of it. I love my running group of friends. But I'm a casual runner, so for that. And then I guess for the business, we're always looking for new product ideas, and by we I mean me. I'm always looking for new product ideas. I've always got something in development because I just want to keep growing and expanding and reaching more people. And I am starting to reach out more into the Pride LGBTQ plus community because I think they have great safety needs, although not the same as runners. They really do in today's political environment. It can be scary and dangerous to be part of the Pride community. So we're starting to do more outreach there. We're going to our first big Pride event in Denver at the end of this month. They've got, I guess, a huge Pride festival. So that's the biggest thing up next for me is expanding our reach into different communities.
Love it. Love it. Jody, thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you shared. And, just one final question I have for you is
Sure.
what would you say to our listeners or community to inspire them to run safely?
Okay. I think it just goes back to what we've already covered. Just know that you're worth fighting for and know that you are a badass and you are not to be messed with. Whatever it takes for you to truly believe that, whatever affirmation, training, whatever it is that you need to get yourself there, please get yourself there because I want everybody to be safe. And it just breaks my heart when I see these stories of runners, female runners attacked, murdered, kidnapped. It's just heartbreaking. So please, please take whatever safety precautions, whether it's Go Guarded or, saber pepper spray or taking jujitsu, whatever it is that you need to do to make yourself empowered. Please, please do that.
Thank you so much, Jody. Sage advice for our listeners. How can our community find you and go guarded and follow your journey online?
Oh, okay. So our website is goguarded.com. We are on Instagram, underscore guarded. So that's where the best place for social is for me is Instagram and check out the website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Jody. I will put that information in the show notes to make it easy for our listeners to find and follow you. So, with that, I want to say thank you again for coming on the show and have a great day.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Appreciate it.